Hey, it's the Brian and Kindra Show. We are here today going to talk about some valuable tips.
But first, Christmas.
Okay.
Okay, so the holidays with the Casters and Friends.
Yes.
Fan-freaking-tastic. That was last weekend.
Yes.
Yes. Man. Talent. So they didn't do like my favorite Christmas songs, which is okay. I understand that they wouldn't want me to tell them what they should do on their show. I get it. I wouldn't either. But Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas is my fave. One of my faves.
Okay.
They're all my faves. Do you sing Christmas music?
You want me to real quick? Ready? I did that last week and they shut the radio down.
I know. It's so great. Okay. So my family sang together growing up.
Yeah.
I didn't understand this. We talked about this before, but there were 4 kids. We had a big, huge van. And my mom would start singing. And I realized later it's because she wanted us to be quiet. Like that was the only way. No arguments, no sass, just
singing.
Yeah. And it was so cool. So now at Christmas, well, they've done this for the whole time. But at Christmas every year, when we open up presents, we sing songs. My dad reads the Christmas story from the Bible. And then we get to open presents. The poor kids, like, I get it. The kids are like, come on, Papa Bob. But I whispered, come on, Papa Bob. But it's so stinking cool. I love it. And I told Jack, because I said, hey, I need you to kind of get prepared for Christmas. He goes, that's cool. I can't wait. Yeah. So, hashtag best man. But okay, history of the gingerbread contest. I'm looking at this magazine. This is the Boomtown magazine, the Woodward
magazine used to be Boomtown.
My bad. I didn't realize they changed the name. Yep. But we've got Santa on the front here. This is a fun one, and it has the history of the gingerbread contest. Did you know I won the gingerbread contest one year?
Really?
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, I remember I was decorating the gingerbread house, and I think that it went in the family one because my kids helped me too. I don't remember. We won money. That's what I remember.
Wow.
But I remember I was working on it. I had the little frosting tip and stuff. Yeah. And one of my customers called in the middle of me working on that and said, I'm locked out of the house. Can you come out and help me? And I thought, oh my gosh, I've got frosting everywhere. Yep, I'll be right there. Because that's what we do, right?
We do, yes.
Anyway, this is a fun little thing Woodward News puts out. I don't know. I just saw it and I wanted to look at it more, so I
remember
brought it up here.
My brother did it. And if you know my brother, he doesn't do anything.
I remember some.
Simple.
Yes.
It was as big as this table.
Right.
He used
like
a sheet of plywood, and he did the Who Village.
Yes.
The huge, it was.
Yeah.
He put sheets of cookies together, and made the roof and every shingle, and it took like 3 of us to carry it. It was so.
That's incredible.
Huge, and it was so awesome. And then the guy who won made a church cathedral with 10,000 little bitty. I mean, it was a little bitty thing.
My gosh.
But it was just like this intricate, everything was just crazy detailed. But
I loved it.
So
it was
crazy.
So much fun. I was shocked at the amount of money that I spent on candy and cookies and different things to do it. Like, I spent close to $100 on material, on food, to make a gingerbread house that
nobody ate.
So but it was fun, and I think the kids enjoyed it. It was kind of a cool thing. But anyway, definitely go to the Pioneer, Plains Pioneer
Museum.
Sorry,
the Woodward Museum.
I just totally screwed that up. But, that cool museum that we have on Downs.
Yes.
Or
Williams. It's right up the road here, across from the post office.
I think I'm going to be quiet. It's time for us to talk about.
Let's talk about some real estate.
Yeah, so we're going to give you some practical tips, valuable insights
on. It's the painful one.
This is the painful one. This is the hardest one. It's easier to do this one on air than it is in person.
Yes.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Would you want to have this discussion with me about a house I own?
Yeah, okay, let's talk, Brian. So what do you do when your home doesn't sell?
You cry.
You do cry. And actually, we cry with you because we talk about this in the office. Like, why is this not selling? And so you always, I don't even know where to begin because I want to hit a couple of different things. I want to say first and foremost, sometimes it's just simply a timing issue.
Yes.
Sometimes it's just not the right time for your house to sell. Your house might be priced right. It might be at a great location. It might be beautiful condition. And it might just be that there is not the right buyer for your house right now.
Right.
And that stinks. We're still looking for the buyer, but they just may not be surfacing. So, all right, here we go. Number 1 is price.
It's the most.
This is the hard part.
Right. But it's the easiest. I say the easiest.
It's the easiest remedy.
It's the easiest remedy if you can afford to make that remedy.
So unrealistic prices can be, I'm glad that you said that because that can be a twofold situation. Sometimes we just, I hope it's okay. I should have talked to my dad first, but when my dad and mom sold their house in Woodward before they moved to Oklahoma City, my dad had a price in mind for his home. And back then that price was very unrealistic, unfortunately, for the size of the home. The location was a good location, but the size of the home really didn't command the value that he wanted. He loved that house so much. Like he felt like there should be a monetary value for the emotional connection that he had to our home. And it was a great home for our family. We had great memories and it was a good solid house and all those kinds of things. But when I had to tell him how much I wanted to list his house for, it was very uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. Very uncomfortable. So sometimes it's an unrealistic price because you have a different mindset than what the market is actually telling you. Sometimes it's an unrealistic price because you cannot afford to sell for what the market says you should sell for.
Right.
So it's two different things. Sometimes that means that you overbuilt for the neighborhood.
Yes.
Ouch.
Or you checked out. So, yeah, we'll talk about mine later.
All right. So unrealistic price. Easy way to fix. Drop the price.
Yep.
But we know that that's hard. We know that it's easy to do that. We know that there's a turmoil inside that can come with that. So that's something that we would want to talk about. We also remember you're the boss. So even if I think your price is unrealistic and I can show you it's really a little higher than it should be, we also know that if you want to try that and you want to stick with it, we're going to try it and stick with it.
Yep.
All right. Sometimes your home might lack some charm.
Or it's just not compelling to the buyers in the market today.
So I think about, like, this one is, I think about the house that I bought, my little tiny house. It was a really good house. And you and I could see all this value in it. And we were like, why is this house not selling? Why is this house not selling? And I think that people couldn't quite see the value that was in the house because of its lack of charm. Like, it has a funky texture on some of the walls. I think that that's a negative. It had purple carpet.
Yes.
And it had some, like, I don't know how to say this, like, it had some old people furniture in it. And I think sometimes that takes away a buyer's ability to see the value of the property. Because as soon as we changed the carpet and as soon as I painted, it also had pink walls. Do you remember that?
Oh, it did.
I was
it's
like,
weird.
I can handle purple carpet. I cannot handle pink walls.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, a little bit of paint, a little bit of carpet, and it looked like a completely different property. And now there is charm.
Yes.
That just wasn't there. And it's not even so much that I'm saying the seller should have done those things. Just that sometimes we have to recognize what we view as this is a nice solid home, and what you might view as, that's where Grandpa always had his chair, might not be quite so pretty for the buyers.
Right. Now, on yours, we even added a front porch.
We did. That's right. I forgot.
It changed the front of the house.
Oh, it did. It gave all kinds of character to it. And freshening up, too, because I immediately freshened up the paint and painted the front door. I realized that that's not everybody's color. But actually, the house really, it made a huge difference to just the way that the front of the house looks. So nobody else maybe wanted to paint it yellow, but it corresponds very, very well with the gray tone set that were already on the property. So there's different things that you might be able to do. Some of them are kind of extreme. I would not have any of our sellers probably build. I can't think of a seller right now that I'd say, you need to build a porch and get some charm to your house.
No.
But maybe this might be when you kind of look at some other ways. So inside, do you need to add some colorful pillows, or do you need to take, I don't know. What do you think? Some easy, cheap things.
I'm not sure we're getting there yet, but we staged my house.
Yes.
So I've got one that we tried to flip, and we spent too much money on it. But then we invested in some Goins, stepped in and
the seller did. The seller invested in furniture.
Yes.
Yes.
They staged it. Goins did a great job. But I think it helped during that time, but there's just not like the problem with this one is the price range. There are just very few people in this price range right now. Back to your
Right.
it's the wrong time to sell this house because there's no buyers in this price range.
Right.
So, but yeah, we staged it. I think it helped. I'm not sure it would be worth the investment on a normal house to stage.
No, I don't think that we would normally suggest to a seller to purchase a new dining table and a new living room set and a TV. Like, I don't think that that's something that we would do with the typical situation. It was different for you because you could actually use those things elsewhere.
Right.
But for most sellers, we're not going to tell you to go buy all new furniture. But we might need to evaluate. Yesterday, we looked at a house, and they have lived in it very, very comfortably, and it works great the way that they have it set up. But I had to have the conversation and say, okay, you're going to probably need to remove one of your pieces of living room furniture, move this over here, open this up a little bit. You might just need a little bit of staging assistance with what you already have. Just less is more.
Less is more. So,
All right. What else do you think on house liking charm?
I think it's a big deal. I mean, clean is a big deal. So I was walking through a house yesterday. I even made a note here because it's reminded me. The windows on the house, like the house is all brand new, paint, flooring, kitchen cabinets, walls, texture paint, bathroom vanities, but the bathtubs are nasty. The shower's nasty. The toilets are brand new. But the windows, like you walk in this new house and you look out and you can't even, the windows are just horrible. Like, so something simple like that is you walk in, you spend all this money and time on everything else.
Right.
And then you're like, oh, shoot, the windows. I think pay somebody whatever, couple $100 to go out and clean windows will make a big difference.
We talked about clean on another show or two recently. And I think that there's a huge investment in just having a professional cleaner come in and get you all spiffied up before you go on the market.
Yes.
And if you know that you live a little rough, maybe even have them do some freshenings in the middle.
Yep.
It does. It makes a big difference. It really does, especially things like windows, mirrors, bathrooms. Bathrooms really.
And then
need
these
to be clean.
laminate floors are awesome.
Yeah.
Except that when you walk through them, you see all the footprints.
Yes, we do.
A quick dust on the floor would
Little
be.
Swiffer sweeper, maybe.
Yep.
I think outside too, and I know that we may get to a curb appeal. I'm not sure if that's on here or not, but and we harp on that, but that's the hard part is sometimes people just drive by and go, it didn't look like anything. I'm not going in.
Mm-hmm.
And we need you to help us to make sure that the exterior is as inviting as the interior is.
Yeah.
So you might have to do a little extra with the yard maintenance. You might need to get some potted plants or I know we're not in season for that particularly. This might be the time.
Silk
I'm
ones.
not a big fan of silk, but maybe. I mean, like right now, some silk poinsettias and a nice big planter.
Yeah.
I mean, it does. It makes a difference. So something you might just consider: how can you freshen up the outside and give it a little pop of color? Next up, we talk about this a lot, and I don't mean to like brag on our guy or anything, but poor listing photos can be one of the reasons your home doesn't sell. And so,
And I've had people, I'm not showing them houses. Well, we didn't go look at that house because there was no pictures.
it is a big
Like
deal.
what?
There's a listing on the market right now that doesn't have any. There's a couple, I think, that don't have any interior photos. And man, it's just hard on everyone. It's hard for a buyer to know if they really want to waste the time to go in. It's hard for agents to remember the property, to even schedule it because there's no pictures to remind us. It's tough. That's not great for a seller, and I don't think. Although I realize too, sometimes there are extenuating circumstances.
We've leveraged the teaser pictures where we put a really good picture of the front and one or two pictures inside and leave it.
Right.
And people are like, hey, tell us more. Okay.
Right.
So there is a strategy for using less pictures.
Yes.
But still good quality pictures are important.
Yes. So good quality. Back in the day, it was okay for me to just use my phone. It's really not okay for me to just use my phone anymore. We have so many more capabilities with cameras. Nathan takes all of our still photos, and then we also have we have two different virtual tour systems. And sometimes we use the Zillow virtual tour system. Sometimes we use our Matterport is the brand of our office virtual tour system. And I like the photos I love the photos on the Matterport, but there's just a different sense of, I feel like the photos that Nathan does give an ambiance to the property that maybe you don't see with the white light that the Matterport camera gives.
Yeah.
Am I saying that right? That's how I view it.
Yes. There's like two different, I know they bracket it automatically
means.
inside of the Matterport. But I think they've made it so blanketed to cover every property, and you can't customize it like Nathan can.
Right. So good qualities are very, very important. Nathan and I talked not very long ago. We have a large listing, and he said, "I'm really having a hard time getting this one picture," and I don't remember what the picture was. And I said, "Here's the deal." Oh, it was inside of the bunkhouse. I'm like, "Here's the deal. I can only put 36 pictures on our multiple listing service." So I have to be very strategic which ones I pick. So sometimes I do have to leave some out. And man, I hate that. I really hate when I can only come up with like 5 or 6 pictures to put on there. Like I do not want to put a listing on without 20 photos. I want 20 photos. Like
Yes.
it's just like my random number. But when it's less than 20, I feel like I haven't done my job. I think more photos is better.
I think more is better. I think, I mean, there's so many. We've sold houses off of the pictures. We've sold houses off the virtual tour.
Yes.
People are like, I love the house. I've already been through it. I'm ready to go. They walk in just ready to buy because we've prepared them with the right pictures and the right photos.
All right. Another reason your home doesn't sell.
Well, this one's an easy one.
Because we can't show it.
If I can't show it, I can't sell it. We've had some complicated situations. We're like, oh yeah, you can show it Thursday between 2 and 3 if it's 52 degrees outside. And no, I mean like
So we had a seller recently. I wish I could have talked to her a little bit more. I would like to know some motivation of a couple of things, but bless her heart, when we started, she was like Johnny on the spot, like get it done. She was ready for photos. She did all this, that, and the other, and was so great to accommodate the first couple of showings. And then something happened with her work schedule, and we were struggling. I mean, it was tough. Like, it looks like the first time I'm available to have you show the houses next week, and da-da-da. And I thought, oh, no.
No.
And thankfully, we found the right buyer showed up at the right time to help out of that. But then also they moved. And I wondered even if she recognized, oh, my gosh, the schedule does not work in order to accommodate the showings to allow the house to sell, and we have to get the house sold. I wish I could add a minute to talk to her about that. But it kind of... We know what a hardship it is for you to have the house ready to show. Whenever we say we live in our house, I get it. I live in my house, and it is not show ready whenever I leave every morning. And I know that if I were to sell my house, it would be quite a challenge. I think it does go back to the pre-packing. The less that I have in my house, the easier it is to keep it clean. Pets, I can't even imagine trying to have it perfect and shiny with my Tilly. Like,
yeah,
I don't know how.
Pets just create another hole.
They really do, but I'm not getting rid of her. So we get that there are some challenges that come with that. So whenever it comes to showings, what we tell our sellers is we will have the call that says, we want to show the house right now. Can we show it in 10 minutes? Hopefully we can. But if we can't, we just need you to give us the very next
Yes.
best available time. Okay, I can't do 15, but I can do an hour. I can't do an hour, but I could do an hour and a half. Like, we just need you to give us the quickest time possible so that we don't lose that buyer.
Right.
And here, you've said a million times, because a lot of people think, I better not move until they sell the house. It's better if it's occupied. And Woodward is not like that.
Yeah, Woodward is different. I don't understand why exactly, but yeah, it's occupied. And I think that's one reason why staging has never caught on here. Because most of the time, even staging homes doesn't help as much as it should in other places.
Right.
Like I remember the house on First Street, we staged with a table. We took a dining room table
Yes.
to prove that the dining table, because people were like, oh, there's just not room. And we're like, yes, there is. So we took a dining room table over and staged the dining room. So I think there's parts of your home that you can have staged to show space or accent a location or an area.
Like we talked about on the holiday one, sometimes you just need to highlight an area. We needed to highlight in that particular kitchen that there was space for a decent-sized dining table and some other. I think at that point we had built a wall to create another bedroom is what we had done. And I think that there was fear, oh my gosh, it's not going to fit. And we're like, yes, it does.
Yep.
And man, it really, really worked well. So sometimes you just need to highlight a specific area with a certain type of staging in a vacant home. You don't have to do
add
the
the
whole
value.
house.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
I don't think. Anyway, okay. Showings are too difficult. We hate that. We know it's tough on everyone.
Yeah. If you have pets, but back to the pet thing. I mean, if you have pets in your house and you've got to go let them out or put them in a kennel or, oh my gosh, it is a distraction. I mean, we have our pets, so it ain't going to be any way around it. Just, it'd be good to have a pet sitter, somebody that's available with you, a backup person.
Run and get the Tilly Bell.
I know how I have dogs like to bite me.
They do. It's so weird. That dog yesterday didn't want to bite you.
Oh, I was thinking the one yesterday morning when I was working on the heater, I thought I was going to be attacked the whole time I was there. Little,
no, there's this big, beautiful black dog that had come up to us at a property. And it was a vacant property out in the country. And I wasn't sure.
If I had time for a dog, that's the kind of dog I would want.
That was a good dog.
Little black lab.
I know. I wanted to take it home too. Anyway, how many dogs can I have? Do you remember the
one?
No.
The next one is.
I think I can have 3.
It's emotional.
You're too. Okay, this one's a real one.
This one's real.
And this goes back to my sweet, sweet daddy, Bob.
Yep.
It was really hard. And I remember some of the cutest things that he said were, now you need to find a nice family for this. We don't actually get to pick our buyers. But I loved the sentiment. I get it, because my dad really loved that home. And he really loved remembering us kids growing up and Christmases and then grandkids coming and all these different things. I get it. So sometimes, and sometimes it's different. Sometimes it's because you've lived in your home for 50 years. Those are tough.
Yep.
Those are very, very, very
And that's why we lean back on the numbers. We lean back on the numbers. We go back and say, here's what, because selling is emotional. Buying is also emotional.
Yes.
So, but we lean back on the numbers to prove that, what is sold, each part of the properties that I've shopped, is all these things. We go in and put numbers to all those values and take all the emotion out. So, I mean, when we build our little market analysis piece, our CMA, it's emotionless. We plug in figures and it tells us a range, and it gives us a few things we can tweak, like location, condition, the other attributes to the house we can add in there. But yeah, it takes all the emotion out, which still is hard to do.
Oh man, is it hard?
Because there is emotion. So on the seller, sometimes it's hard to get them to the point where we feel, I use the emotion word feel, that they can accept that price for their property.
Right.
And then on a buyer, you're the same thing. Like sometimes buyers get emotional and they'll pay too much.
Right.
Which is, I mean, again, there's a lot of reasons why you can afford to pay too much for a property, but we want to make sure that it's a fair market of value, because it's got to appraise and all that. So back to emotions. It is emotions on the selling side, the heartaches of, we've got one now that some agents are working on. They have spent the last 12 months, it seems like nearly every day, remodeling this big old house. And they're like, they calculated their time. They kept track.
Right.
And they're like, well, if we hired a contractor and they worked what we did, then this is how much we would have spent on it, plus what we bought it for. If we sell it for any less than this, we're losing money. Yes. I'm sorry. But the numbers show this.
Right.
And so it's just like mine. I'm in it upside down. I got way more than I should. And it was an emotional deal. We got involved. We stepped out, hired somebody else to finish it, which then I have more expense there instead of us doing the work. So there's no sweat equity. I wasn't around to make quick. We had big problems. We had foundation issue that cost a bunch more money. You just find all kinds of problems. Emotionally, it angers me to lose money.
Most people.
And so, but I'm going to lose money either way. I'm going to lose money on the taxes, insurance, interest. I'm going to lose money there, or I'm going to take it on the chin now. Right. I'm going to lose it. And so, unless you're willing to rent it, and then you'll lose money a different way.
So I think there's a different type of emotions that come with this.
Yes.
Not even just the emotion of being in your home, living your home, being frustrated because you're losing money. Sometimes I think it's just I'm sorry, my throat is really bothering me this afternoon.
It's that peach tea.
Sometimes it's my peach tea. That's not true. I love my peach tea. Sometimes I think that there's the emotions that come involved with, there's kind of a competition in a buyer and a seller sometimes. So maybe the house is priced right, and maybe a buyer comes in really low, and that feels very offensive. And so sometimes the seller's knee-jerk reaction is an emotional one with, I don't care. I won't sell it. I don't have to sell it. I don't know how many times I hear, I don't have to sell it. And I think I would caution sellers to really make sure that they step away from that mindset. You don't have to sell it. You don't have to sell anything. Even when you think you have to, you really don't have to. There's always something else that can happen. But kind of just pause and remember that it's business. So business sense, what do you need? How can we counteroffer? What would you like to try to do? Because sometimes a buyer's just testing the water. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they really are out of league with what they can afford. And so they're making a hurtful offer to you. But in their mind, they're thinking, I have to try if I don't try, because they don't know your situation either. And I think sometimes a buyer, by the same token, will make an offer, think it's a good, solid offer. And the seller goes, I'm not coming off my price. I'm not coming off my price. And then there's that set of emotions too. So I think sometimes that's the emotions that we see above and beyond even just that it was my home forever. It's just this, I don't know, feeling like somebody's trying to get the best of you, I guess. And I think our phrase is always, okay, this is a business transaction. So if we pause for a minute, we take it back to business. How much do you need to purchase it for? How much do you need to sell it for? Counter here, you counter there, and be closer maybe. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I don't know that I've ever had a transaction where I had a buyer say, I want to hurt their feelings and I'm going to make the lowest offer possible just to be a stinker. Have you had that? You're going to say you have. Oh my gosh.
We had some people.
I haven't had that, thankfully, because I don't know how I would handle it.
Yeah.
Because my feelings start getting on the way, like, oh gosh, I don't want to do that.
And then and then that's our job, is to calm it down and be back to, hey, it's business. And that, they got offended that they countered the way they did. And it comes back to, I think you're reading into it. You know what I'm saying? And people, we're in a small town, so everybody knows each other. But nonetheless, It happens. We've had thousands of transactions. It's going to happen.
All right. So there's some ideas. There's some practical tips, valuable insights.
Yep.
Let us know if we can help you sell your home.
Yes.
And if your home hasn't sold and is listed with us and we haven't had some of these hard conversations, give us a shout.
Yes.
And let's get it done.
Yes. I'm Brian Cook, 580-334-2303.
I'm Kindra Brown, 580-216-0090. And we will see you next time.
Hey, it's the Brian and Kindra Show. We are here today going to talk about some valuable tips